this cat Sammy.
Yeah.
So this cat Sammy, for example, she doesn't want to be in the video.
Yeah.
I have to respect that. Sammy,
Yeah.
you can go now.
So
Sammy can go. But what I wanted to, why Sammy, why I invited her to the shot, is because Sammy has basically more rights than the average Ugandan citizen. Because
that changed my life is that 10 years ago I met a Ugandan lady.
you made a Ugandan lady.
Right? And hey, Ugandan ladies are beautiful.
So
the pearl of Africa is not just the country, but also the women.
Hello, my dear viewers. This is Bofre Jr. I'm here with Dr. Nico, and he's going to tell us how he obtained the title doctor. Hello, Dr. Nico. How are you doing?
Yes, I'm good.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yes, I did a PhD in physics.
Oh, wow.
So I like Einstein.
Yeah.
I like particles,
Yeah.
protons, neutrons, relativity theory, those kind of things. So that is how I ended up in physics.
Yeah.
And when I wrote my PhD thesis, I noticed that what I was doing was only for very limited people in the world. There were only very few people that actually understood what I was doing. But when I was able to use my skills for Uganda, I noticed that there was a whole country that could benefit from the stuff that I do, like you vote, or like the books that I'm writing.
Okay.
So, and in the end, that is what you want, right? That you want to apply your skills for something. And in the beginning, I didn't actually use that title doctor a lot. But in Uganda, people like a title, right?
They love titles.
So since I'm active for Uganda, I'm Dr. Nico instead of Nico.
Dr. Nico. They love that so much.
But of course, friends can just call me
in
Nico.
Uganda, what I can tell you about Uganda, how we are raised in Uganda, we do respect people a lot, which is different here in diaspora. That people, they prefer being called their names. Call me Keza, call me Nico, that's what they don't want. But in Uganda, someone wants to be called professor, doctor, lawyer, sir. So anyway, you have a book, you wrote a book called Rigged. You can show it to the viewers right there. If they want, Dr. Nico is going to let you know where you can find it. In this book, I saw that you said Chagulanyi, Robert Chagulanyi, that's how we say it, Robert Chagulanyi, that he got 63% of the votes. How did you come to that conclusion?
Yes.
Yeah.
So when I started to be involved in the struggle, and let me also show for my viewers. Of course, all the people that I worked with were all noob. So if you would ask me how are Ugandans supporting Chagulanyi, then I would say 100%. But obviously that is not true, because the people I'm meeting are not representative of the average Ugandan, because the average Ugandan is not just the Ugandan that happened to come to Netherlands, but also the one that lives in Karamoja, the one that lives in the Rwenzori Mountains. All those Ugandans, they all have one vote if we had honest elections. So I developed a technique through WhatsApp where the computer would just take an arbitrary number, not one of my friends, but an arbitrary number. And that is not so difficult, because you know all the Ugandan phone numbers, they start with certain blocks. There's 256 for Uganda, and then there's for Airtel and MTN, they have their own type of numbers. So if you just use a random number, then the chance is like 30% that that person also has WhatsApp. Then you write them a message and saying, hey, I'm Dr. Nico, I have this company called Afro Opinion, and I would like to know how you feel about politics and who are you going to vote for in the next election. Museveni, Mao, Amuriat, or Robert Chagulanyi. And they would tell me, not always, sometimes they would be fearful, they would be thinking, oh, maybe it's the government spying on me.
Exactly.
But people would tell us, and we found a massive support for Chagalanyi, 63%, which was double
Yeah.
of Museveni support, 27%. And the other 10% was for Amuriat, Mao's tiny bit.
Oh yeah.
Kabuleta, maybe you remember this guy had a bit of the support. And what's so nice about these surveys is that you can keep doing them.
Yeah.
Every month you can see development. So, for example, if politicians are not performing rightly, then obviously their support will go down. Here in Europe, in the USA, they do these surveys all the time, and that's why politicians are interested in what people are thinking. Whereas in Uganda, you know that Museveni doesn't give a shit about Uganda. He even insults them, right? Calls them stupids.
Yeah.
If there were surveys in Uganda, obviously after insulting someone, he's not going to like you,
Exactly.
right? And that is why we started to do these surveys. And because I saw how powerful it was, me and a team of people, we also did them for some other countries. Zimbabwe, which is also a dictatorship, and we found that Chamisa, basically the Bobby Wine of Zimbabwe, would have gotten 2/3 of the votes in the election, but he was rigged, just like our president was rigged. Then we did the same thing for Kenya, and we found it was neck and neck. Basically, we know that in Kenya it's more or less, the election was pretty honest, although Ruto turned out a very authoritarian ruler. Last month, we did the exercise again for Ghana. And indeed, for Ghana, we found that the new president, John Mahama, is indeed, according to our survey, also the winner of the election. So it's a very powerful tool, and we plan to be applying it the coming year up to the elections to show Ugandans what people are thinking.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Dr. Nico. So, our viewers, I think you've heard the reason as to why Dr. Nico came up with a conclusion that 63% of the votes were for Kyagulanyi. That means he won. But Uganda, there's no democracy. Okay.
20 years ago, I could never have imagined to be so much involved with Uganda. 20 years ago, I didn't even know what the capital was. I didn't know that there was a dictator called Museveni. I mean, I knew that Africa was filled up with dictators, obviously. But the thing that changed my life is that 10 years ago, I met a Ugandan lady.
You met a Ugandan lady.
Right? Okay. And hey, Ugandan ladies are beautiful. The pearl of Africa is not just the country, but also the women. So I met her. Now, in the beginning, we didn't discuss a lot of politics.
Okay.
But then came 2018, Arua. Of course, I had already heard about Bobby Wine, but he had just become an MP. He was there campaigning for another MP, and then many people were picked up. Kyagulanyi was just disappeared, and people started to get organized. So my ex was invited to a rally. I also went there, and we were with our free Bobby Wine placards.
Okay.
And that was the start of me being involved.
Involved in Uganda.
I still can't really call it the struggle, because it was just 2018. But then time advanced. The National Unity Platform was born in 2020. The campaign started, and then the extreme violence of the regime started. The National Unity Platform got a chapter in the Netherlands. My ex was one of the chair ladies of that chapter. I was attending meetings of the diaspora, and I noticed they needed help with websites, with social media, Twitter accounts, and because we were going to elections, everybody was saying, Dr. Nico, we need an app to monitor these elections to secure our vote.
Okay.
And because in my previous life, I've also been a startup entrepreneur and a programmer. So I know how to design apps and I know how to build apps. And I found a team of Ugandans, and together we built this app called YouVote.
YouVote.
That is how it all started. Then Chagalanyi announced YouVote to be the app. Then obviously people found out about me, and then later I started
who suggested the YouVote?
So basically everyone suggested YouVote.
Okay.
Because it just makes sense to have an app that you use to secure the vote. But first of all, building is not a capability that in general many people have, and especially because Museveni has been able to destroy the education for 38 years in Uganda. There are not many Ugandans that know how to program.
Yeah, that's true.
So many people had the suggestion, but there were only a couple of people that were able to do it. And fortunately, they were working with me so that we could build that app together. And we were also challenged with some certain things that were going to happen. We knew that the internet was going to be cut off. Now, any app depends on the internet being functional. So, for example, there were people that said, okay, we'll have a Facebook app. I immediately says, we have to dismiss that because Facebook is going to be down because there's no internet. So the app that we built, it worked like a normal app in the sense that a polling agent or any volunteer would go to their polling station, would find what they call declaration of results form that contains X votes for Chagalanyi, Y votes Museveni, and the other votes, and they would take a picture, they would type in the app the number of votes per candidate, they would upload that picture. And then what was special about the app is that if the internet was not there, it would simply wait. It would not crash.
It would not crash.
It would just wait until the internet was back on. There were also some other things that the app did, but that one I'm not going to tell you. Because maybe we're going to use it again.
Okay.
Right? But I can tell you that the app was designed to be without the internet. So you remember internet was off. And I remember like 5 days later, I started up my computer, and then suddenly I saw that all those phones started to upload their DORs. Yes, because the internet was put on. So all those phones knew, oh, hey, YouVote is the YouVote server is there. So
that means the Museveni's regime, they knew about the YouVote as well.
They didn't just know about the YouVote. When Bobby Wine announced YouVote, they blocked access to the Google Play Store for YouVote. So people could not download it from the Play Store. But that was easy for us to circumvent because you also have what they call an APK file. And you can just share that, just like you share a photo. So basically people started to share the app. And so although the Play Store was blocked, already before the election took place, we already had 100,000 people that had registered, had downloaded the app.
Dr. Nico, to the next question, please, can you tell us about the work as a Euro ambassador?
So this work as the European ambassador started indeed after the YouVote time. The European Parliament was the first parliament in the world that quickly after the elections came out with a resolution clearly stating that there had been fraud, that there had been massive violations of human rights, asking for an independent audit. It was very powerful, and it was supported by 90% of the members of the European Parliament. Hey, look at that, our Sammy is back. We'll be nice to you because we don't want you to complain to police. So I started to engage these MPs in European Parliament, keeping them updated, and they continued to make resolutions later on. I did the same thing with national parliaments, especially the Netherlands parliament, because obviously we are here in the Netherlands. But also with the Italian parliament in January 2022, our president had a session together with the Italian parliament. And so I connect to as many parliaments as possible. But the disappointing thing is that the national governments and parliaments are more difficult than the European parliaments.
Can you repeat that?
Mm-hmm.
Can you repeat the statement you've just made, that it's so difficult? Which one?
The national parliaments, it's more difficult for them to take resolutions. So because although we have had that contact with the various national parliaments, but none of them took any resolution like the European Parliament did. And that is very sad, because the European Parliament is, when it comes to foreign relations, the least powerful. Because in Europe, and this is something that the viewers should know, you have the European Parliament and you have the European Commission. Now, the European Parliament, they make the laws. But when you discuss Uganda, there's not really a law that is really relevant. It's about policy. And the policies are made by the European Council. And the European Council is in the pocket of Museveni, unfortunately, and Miriam Black, who even lives in Brussels. So that now, although we've made progress, they know us. These resolutions by the European Parliament, it puts pressure on them. But there's still a lot to achieve there. Now let's see. Oh, that is.
We opposite.
When you are serious in these issues of facing Museveni, they are going to put pressure on you. They are going to act against you. They want you to act like them. Whenever you do,
yes, we will explain to him.
Olutalo lwetulina mu diaspora. Abantu bano bazanya game. Game gye bazanya ya ku actinga nomo mu mbeera ziri abnormal. Bwe balaba nga otadde pressure ku Museveni, baturning against you. Batandika okukuboola, ne bakufuula nti gwe, bakufuula enemy. Oba okitegeera? Eva mu diaspora zonna bino bihappeninga. Ate nga tulina bwino Museveni yateeka almost $500 million mu diaspora. Okitegeera? Kati yaziwa baani? Eva Museveni alwanira mu structures awali obukulembeze, yalaba mukulembeze gwa compromisinga, then omukulembeze ate ye n'akola ki? N'alwanyisa mmwe. Okitegeera? Ofuuka ennyo serious, ofuuka enemy. Buli wobeera serious ennyo ofuuka enemy. Naye nga Museveni bw'atyo bw'akola. Kati tulina, nze ngenda kugulawo olutalo ku social media. Tulina kutandika olutalo. Okitegeera? Ngenda kutandika olutalo. Kati balwanyisa Dr. Nick. Balwanyisa bulungi. Bali mu kuturning against him. Okitegeera? Bamulwanyisa. Tebaagala akole ki? Baagala yiriisenga bo. Okitegeera? Buli w'ofuuka serious, ate eyo situation ngisanga nnyo wano e South Africa. Ne bakomuleti mu diaspora eddala. Diaspora nfu, tolaba tukuba bampuuga eri. Naye bampuuga basinga mu diaspora eno. Ate bali mu position za bukulembeze. Bagenda ne beekwata omukulembeze ne bamwefunza bwe bati. Okitegeera? N'omukulembeze naye akimanyi. Okitegeera? Bamukwata ne bamwefunza bwe bati. Eva bateekawo embeera, bwe watuuka akaseera nti omukulembeze afunye obuzibu, beetaaga okuteekawo embeera diaspora yonna.
Tebafaayo, teba taking action.
Bwe tutuuka mu kusonda ssente, balina kirabika gye bazijja, kubanga abantu batuuka ne bagaana okusonda. Bwe tunuulira abantu mu diaspora babatamya struggle bonna. Abantu batuuka ne bagamba abo tuwa betuwa tebali ku mulamwa naffe. Abantu ne babeerawo nga baagala eggwanga lyabwe, naye ate nga tebakola ki? Nga tebali active. Bano babasasula kuba deactivatinga kubajja ku mulamwa. Kubanga Museveni afuna omuntu gw'asasula, omuntu oyo gw'asasula n'alinnya, yakola gwakulinnya bano ku kuleki. ila Museveni ye ayezira wali bukulembeze akwata bakulembeze bakukola kibasasula wamalu basasula ngabagamba ati munkwatira abantu kubanga ye atya bantu bana bakulembeze bangu kutegera bangu kugira kubanga kati nganze Museveni asobola okujja n'abasasula wano nze ntandika okukola ki okuzikiza abantu okutegera era bo balabikira nnyo mu kuzonda mu bintu by'okutyako Museveni ebalabika bawulira ati ate twagala bakomredi abali mukomera kituufu tulina oyamba naye ate kibabasibira si Museveni kuvaako kubanga Museveni tetuyinza kutambulira ku gundi ye nga eva yatuwa wayidiro wayagala ayoolayo buyonzi naye ate bwe tumujjako tusobola okweteera abantu naye eva baliyapikingirawo webalaga nti bo bateeka amaanyi naye ngaawo kuba tuli mu pazo ya Museveni amaanyi tulina gateeka agasinga obungi tulina gateeka okujjako Museveni ebijjako Museveni okutegeera eva obasanga beekalakaasa ojja kwesanga nga beekalakaasa biringa ebitagattagatta bituufu waliwo akaseera we katuuka nga tulina oteekawo embeera yakwekalakaasa eyo tebanyega naye owabeerawo ataawo nga tetwetaaga nnyo tewali nnyo mbeera yakwekalakaasa ate ne bavaayo ne bakulaga nti ate bateekawo embeera eva Museveni bwati bwakola abafaananyi nga bwe yatukolanga nga tuteze bano babesige nga bo eva tayimu y'okukyankalana ne bakyankalana tayimu y'okubantu bateredde banoonya school fees bakola biki ng'ate yeefula nti akyankalana eva bwaba ti wabadde ng'atukola eva nga tyatu wane South Africa omukulembeze baakukuba watewali wadde strike netukuba amasimu fe twaorganizinga strike eyali ku mupiira gwa South Africa ne Uganda Crane netugenda netuwanika ku bipande okutegera ffe naye nga bo batudde bwe kituuka mu kujjukira bakomuleti bannaffe abaafa ate ni awo nga bateekawo nnyo amaanyi ate sente ze
Of course, we're never going to remove the dictator without any conflicts. It's not possible. And so these people that try to avoid conflicts, but at the same time they are noob leaders, that doesn't work. Right? And then the other thing that compromises people is their personal business. Personal hatreds. They had some kind of argument with A, and they don't see the light anymore for that person. They want to do everything to bring that person down, and for them that becomes more important than the struggle. All these things compromises people, and it's usually a combination. And so when I say in the Dutch chapter there's NRM infiltration, actually it's only one, I think, that gets money from the NRM. All the others are doing it for one of the other reasons that I just mentioned.
Yeah. And another thing they have, I think, fear, because most of the people that come from Uganda or run away from Uganda, they have their families back there. So it's easy, they'll know this person was doing this, so anything can happen to their family.
Exactly, you know? Yeah.
So, and I think that's
my
why
brother, let me tell you this. Let me tell you this, my brother.
Yes, Omar.
Museveni cannot use someone who doesn't want to use it to be used. I'm telling you. Let me teach you this. Museveni cannot use someone who doesn't want to be used. Even the one who get paid, let me tell you, they put themselves in position. They call them. Let me tell you, Museveni, take up a position. Museveni n'abakola ki n'abatuuka ko bali baagala tugamba nga mbu simanyi famire zaabwe ziri eyo ne bakulima nze famire yange eri Uganda nga tebagikwatangako kyokka nze waliwo asinga okufa Museveni kwabo batukyakutaabo waliwo asinga buli kaseera buli lunaku mbeera mu kufa projekiti ze zonna ne ziyiwa natuuka wano ku projekiti ya Gorodi nga teri ayagala gyogerako nze nzekka natuuka ne kuba buloga ne bagirya projekiti ya Gorodi ogijjukira kyokka nze sirina famire waka abantu abo bakufuna byakwekwasa nkubuulira Museveni gwe weeteeka mu position eyagala ssente eri n'alyoka akubuukirira akimanyi bulungi nti omuntu bw'aba alina biriivu ye nti oli mufu ogenda kuula mukuule gyaba akimanyi kati kankubuulireko abantu abo Museveni abantu abo bagagga njagala weegendereza entambula zaabwe bonna bazimbadde amayumba mu ddala nkubuulira bino bya ddala basasulwa ate babasasula kubalekayo tayinza kuvaayo era bw'avaayo balekerawo musasu
bye baamuteekawo ng'alina kubeera eno
bw'avaayo n'alaga nti awagira Museveni tatamufuna salari alina kubeera eno kwefuula bwa ddala Museveni muffe mwalina amaanyi erimu NRM nnyangu nnyo kubanga NRM ensi yonna ekimanyi envundu kati Museveni anoonyaamu abalamu abali ku sayidi ye nga bali eno waffe kati kiki kyakola ensi yonna anoonya abagenda olimbalimba abantu kati oyimirira ng'oliwo NRM ensi yonna egaba Museveni kati bano bayamba Museveni okugoba abalina obusungu ku Museveni okubagobera ewala bafuna obusungu ku bo kibago bagiveemu bwatyo bw'azannya nabbanja asobola oyimirira n'akyusa omuntu yenna ng'amugamba Museveni mu bulungi anti ndina edda wabula bano ajja kujja kugambe Museveni tumulwanyisa naye enkola zino zetukozesaamu tulina bba bwe tutya naye ng'enkola zaagaana enkola ezijja kaati
zentuufu zezirina okujjako Museveni
Obeste yatugambanga kukube amasepiki ng'obuli omu waali kube sepiki yo ebyo bijjako Museveni
tebisobola
the opposition Museveni bye yali yastaginga n'atugamba tukube engombe ejjako Museveni mu kaseera bannayuganda bwe balina osituka ne bagamba nti katusituke ffena mu 2009 bannayuganda baasituka yeekweka bwekwezi Museveni yadduka ne mu Uganda n'agenda Kenya gye bamukubira essimu ne bamugamba ono tewali akituddeko mawo
kati mukulu Umaru gwe abantu sooka babuulire oba bagenda okulaba vidiyo yaffe eno babuulire ebintu bibiri nti bye tusobola okukola ne biraga ddala nti omusajja twagala akole ki twagala aveeko
kati bankubuulireko ekisooka obusungu tulina kusooka buteeka ku bantu baffe tutya Museveni bwe yali mu nsiko n'obuwulira buliiti mu bw'otalina liira mu kakumbi kumu okukakasa ensi lino otuno twanira ggwanga kati ffe tetukuba bukumbi ffe tetutta nedda ffe ekintu kye tukola kuboola kasita otandika enkola zeezo nga zirira